The crisp, deliberate sound of a pilot tearing a young woman's ID in half cut through the first-class cabin like a knife, every head jerked up, eyes wide, glasses paused midair, a stunned silence rolling in right behind that brutal sound. You ever been in a place where the whole mood shifts in half a second? Yeah, that happened. The pilot, a tall, broad-shouldered man with that unmistakable veteran vibe, silver streaks at his temples, chest lined with medals, just sneered and tossed the pieces of her ID on her lap, voice dripping with sarcasm as he said, "Enjoy your flight." That was the moment the entire fate of Aura Airlines Flight 715 changed course forever. And trust me, nobody on board had a clue what was coming next. See, he thought her silence was weakness, her youth a sign she could be pushed around. But that's the thing about people who judge too fast sometimes. They're picking a fight with the one person they really shouldn't. That woman, Dr. Amara Carter, didn't just belong in C2B. She'd spent the past year chasing ghosts through the back alleys of Manhattan, busting open a money laundering ring that made national headlines. At 29, she was a federal agent with a doctorate in forensic psychology, a mind like a scalpel, nerves steady as stone. She was on her way to London, tasked with handing over intelligence to MI5, wearing a silk blouse and tailored slacks like every other first-class passenger, but that wasn't the real reason she was up front. She had something in her handbag a lot more powerful than a platinum card. It was supposed to be routine, you know? She blended in, smiled politely, ordered sparkling water with lime, her name, Amara, rolling off her tongue smooth as jazz. The flight attendant, Chloe, appreciated that her smile, lingering a little longer because Amara bothered to use her name. That's the kind of detail Amara never missed. Meanwhile, the pilot, Captain Richard Callahan, was making his way through the cabin, shaking hands, cracking jokes, and offering old ladies his practiced, easy smile. When he got to Amara, though, something flickered in his eyes. The loca mix of confusion, suspicion, and that special blend of condescension that women in certain places know all too well. Amara felt that tightening in her chest, the one that comes from years of being both underestimated and overexamined. She ignored it. She just wanted to get to London, do her job, maybe even close her eyes for a few hours. But peace wasn't on the manifest that night. As the plane settled into the dark sky above the Atlantic, Amara tried to lose herself in her well-thumbed copy of Meditations. That's when the shadow fell across her seat. Captain Callahan stood over her, arms crossed, face tight, the air between them turning cold and electric. "Ma'am, I need to verify a few things. Can I see your boarding pass again?" His voice was low, measured, laced with the authority of someone used to getting their way. Passengers nearby pretended not to listen, but the whole row tensed up. Amara handed over her pass, watching his eyes scan the name. "Dr. Amara Carter," he said, almost spitting out the title. "And what kind of doctor are you?" She smiled, polite but unyielding. "The kind that enjoys her privacy, Captain." He held the pass a second too long. Then came a question: could he see a photo ID? She could see it was less about security and more about control. Amara kept her cool. She handed him her driver's license, her badge and weapon staying tucked away for now. But Callahan just wasn't satisfied. He twisted the license in his fingers, examining it like he'd found a bomb instead of a piece of plastic. He made comments about people sneaking into first class, about pretty girls looking for luxury they haven't earned. You know what I mean? The insult stung not just for what it said, but for what it tried to erase. Her entire career, every late night at Quantico, every case she'd cracked, every bullet she'd dodged shrunk down to some stereotype in his head. Amara asked for her license back, her voice tight, words measured. He ignored her, pressing his thumb against the edge of the ID, pushing, bending, performing for the crowd now. The plastic creaked. The tension built, thick as molasses. The businessman, a row up mister. Peterson, big talker about mergers and acquisitions, finally snapped. "Rick, for God's sake, the lady's a paying customer." Callahan just glared him down, flexing that captain's authority for all it was worth. And then, just like that, he broke the license in half. Crack. Pieces fluttered down. The room spun. For a second. Callahan puffed his chest, declared the airport police would handle in London, and turned to stride away, all swagger, all control. He thought he'd won. That's when Amara stood up. No drama, no yelling, just a deliberate, calm movement that felt like the eye of a storm. "Captain," she said, and the whole cabin snapped to attention. Callahan turned, expecting tears or maybe a last-minute plea. What he saw instead was Amara, standing steady, hand in her designer bag. Not for a phone, not for another eye, but for a dark leather case. She opened it with a flick of her thumb. The gold badge caught the light, a silent thunderclap. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Every jaw in the cabin dropped. Special Agent Dr. Amara Carter, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And you, Captain, have a very serious problem. The room shifted. Chloe gasped. Mr. Peterson's eyes went wide. The passengers felt the air change. Callahan just stood there, color draining from his face. Amara listed out his crimes, each word landing heavy. Destruction of government property, interference with a federal agent, Title 18, Section 111 of the U.S. Code, 8 years in prison. Her tone was ice, every syllable a nail in the coffin of his authority. For a heartbeat, he tried to bluster, but you could see the gears turning, the arrogance unraveling. "You didn't know," he whispered, his voice finally stripped of all pretense. "You're not paid to know," Amara answered, cold as steel. "You're paid to fly this plane, not to act out your prejudices." She relieved him of command on the spot, ordered the co-pilot, David Morrison, to take over. David, watching from the cockpit, the whole time looked shaken but grateful. Callahan, stripped of rank and dignity, was told to sit in the jump seat, silent, powerless. Chloe gathered up the shards of the broken license at Amara's request, sealing them in a bag, now evidence in a federal case. The rest of the flight was a strange, heavy limbo. Passengers whispered, glancing between the door and Amara's seat, wondering if they'd just watched a piece of history. Amara called D.C. from the plane's satellite phone, code words and protocol passing back and forth. Nightfall is proceeding, unexpected turbulence, package secure. The world outside, dark and infinite, pressed in as the plane soared across the ocean. Callahan, back in the cockpit, stared into the dark, no longer the master of anything, barely even a man in that moment, just a hollow shell, haunted by the weight of what he'd done. As they landed at Heathrow, it was clear this was no routine arrival. The plane was guided to a far corner of the airport, met not by ground crew, but by black sedans and men in dark suits, FBI, MI5, local police. Amara stepped out first, her composure unshaken, while Callahan was escorted out, hat gone, tie askew, eyes darting for help that wouldn't come. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Callahan was fired within hours, corporate not wasting a minute to cut ties. His pilot's license revoked. Federal charges pending. News of the incident exploded, online videos from passengers, stories leaked to reporters. His decorated career became a cautionary tale, a headline. Hero pilot falls from grace after FBI showdown at 37,000 feet. Meanwhile, Amara debriefed MI5, her focus razor sharp, the incident just one more problem solved and filed away. The contrast couldn't be clearer. While Callahan's world collapsed, Amara went right back to work, her sense of mission unbroken. A year later, Callahan faced the judge not as captain, but as defendant, just another man brought low by his own choices. The judge, stern and unsparing, gave him probation, a crushing fine, and 1,000 hours of community service working at a charity warehouse right next to JFK. Every takeoff a reminder of the world he'd lost. His family, his friends, his reputation all gone. The man who once ruled the skies now spent his days sorting donated clothes, haunted by the echo of engines and the memory of the woman he'd tried to humiliate. 18 months after the flight, he was just Rick, clocking in for another shift, anonymous among the volunteers. High above, Amara Carter boarded her next flight, calm, focused, her work never done. Their paths crossed only in memory now. She was just a closed file, a solved equation. No anger left, no pity needed. If there's a lesson in all this, it's that prejudice is a poison that eats its own vessel first. Callahan's abuse of power didn't just cost him a job. It cost him everything that made his life worth living. Dr. Carter proved that true strength is quiet, relentless, and just. In the end, arrogance got humbled, justice got served, and the world kept turning. So let me ask you, was justice done? Did Callahan get what he deserved, or does the punishment go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this story if it moved you, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life tales where power, pride, and karma collide at 30,000 feet.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video.
It is cold, yeah. Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Use the fence.